Hi, my name is Felicity. I'm a chiropractor and I'm the founder of Banchory Spinal Health. And I really wanted to make a video today to talk a little bit about headaches. Now, headaches are something that affect a huge percentage of the population, and a lot of people don't know that this is something that we see in the clinic really often. So I think the overall message from this video is certainly going to be that if you do suffer with regular headaches, that you really should seek help. And it is certainly something that we like to help with here. But I do want to talk a little bit about A, what you can do yourself to help your headaches if you are suffering with regular headaches. And B, sort of why headaches come on in the first place, and obviously how to avoid them happening in the future. So, the first thing that's really important that I mention about headaches is I'm going to talk about the sort of common causes of headaches. And the first thing I want to mention is that it's very common for people to suffer regular headaches that become almost a normal part of life purely from dehydration. So imagine if I told you that a certain percentage of you sitting watching this video, I'm going to go ahead and assume if you're watching this video, you might suffer with headaches. A certain percentage, might not be a huge percentage, might find a complete difference by drinking more water. Now, I get a lot of stick from my colleagues in the clinic because I drink 2.2 litres of water per day, and I have a bottle that holds that 2.2 litres, and it is so big it needs a carry strap with it, so it comes in its own wee bag. But I really notice if I don't keep myself hydrated with that I really suffer. So again, really try and think about increasing your water intake. And it might be enough. It might be enough to get rid of your headaches. The reason why this happens is because there is a sort of sheath around your brain, between your skull bones and your brain. And if that's not sufficiently hydrated, it's thought that tension can develop. It sort of shrinks. And that can be very uncomfortable. Obviously, your body tries to protect your brain as much as possible. So this is your body trying to tell you that something might not be quite right. Now, one of the second most common causes of headaches is caffeine. But it is probably not what you think. So a lot of people think that excess caffeine causes headaches. That's not strictly speaking true. I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail because this is just a short video, but it's important to know that it's not high levels of caffeine that cause headaches necessarily. It's some days having no caffeine or a little bit of caffeine, and some days having a huge amount of caffeine, and your body ping-ponging between having lots of caffeine and little amounts of caffeine. So some people might find that they can live quite happily with 1 coffee a day. Some people might have 4 coffees a day, and that's fine for them. But if they had 1 coffee a day for most of their life, and then one day had 4 coffees a day, that day, they might find that a couple of days later, that's when they get the really bad headache or even a migraine. This is something that took me a while to figure out, and it's all to do with the vasoconstriction and of your arteries, especially around your head. So again, I'm not going to go into details, but caffeine messes that up. So your body gets used to a certain amount of caffeine, but if you chop and change, then you're going to have problems. So my top tip would be, don't have excessive caffeine because it's not good for your adrenals and your hormones, but find out what level of caffeine your body can cope with and stick with that, okay? So if you're a 1 coffee a day person, stick with your 1 coffee a day, and don't be surprised if you end up with a headache after a day of having 2 or 3 coffees. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is probably the most relevant to me and my profession. So did you know that 80 to 90% of headaches, and this has been proven in a study, are what we call cervicogenic, which means they come from the neck, okay? So your doctor might describe this as a tension headache. and I'm going to try and explain simply what that means. So to help me explain this, I have a prop. So your head in your skull, and some of us have bigger brains and bigger heads, but for most people, your skull and your brain and your head averagely weighs the same as a bowling ball. Now, it feels pretty heavy, right? You think my head probably doesn't weigh that much. However, if you imagine your head, I'm just going to turn to the side, your head is balanced on your neck, which is not a huge structure, and your head has to spend all day there, okay? So your neck and the rest of your body has to keep your head up all day, right? Which is quite a big job. The problem comes when you're holding this up, but we're not holding it up properly, are we? We are spending all day at a desk. So instead of sitting up like this, we sit down like this, and our head gets further and further forward. And you'll see as we get older, your head tends to go further and further forward. So instead of this being nicely balanced through your spine, it ends up further and further away. Imagine holding a bowling ball and extending your arms out. It gets heavier and heavier and heavier, and it's much more difficult for the muscles in your body to keep that up. So there's several different structures around your neck that can contribute to headaches. So the joints and the muscles and the nerves can all be irritated by this process. And almost all of these structures refer pain to different parts of the head. So this is why we'll ask you when you come in, where is your headache and what does it feel like? Because some people feel it around here, and that can be the muscles at the back of the head or the upper trap muscles here. Some people feel it at the back of the head, some people feel it at the top of the head, some people feel it behind the eyes, which can sometimes be more of a nerve problem. And some people suffer with migraines, which is like much more complicated, but doesn't mean that we can't help. But we have to figure out what type of migraine it is. There's several different types of headaches and migraines. So really my top tip here is be mindful of how you're sitting and the position that your head is in. Be mindful that your neck has to look after your head all day. And really my best tip is, especially if you're a desk worker, headaches are very prevalent in offices and people who obviously work at home and at a desk as well. It's really, really important that you take regular breaks and you stretch your neck, and if you feel yourself doing this, get up and move around and shrug your shoulders. The last tip I have for you is kind of on the same lines. So another thing that will cause headaches due to this problem coming from the neck and the shoulders is stress. So when we get stressed, we adopt this posture. Okay, so your shoulders come up and they come forward. Okay, and the reason that happens when we are stressed is because your body thinks that you're being chased by a bear. Because your body doesn't know that you're not being chased by a bear. Our brains are designed to react to any stressors in a way that will protect our body. So if the bear came to attack you and you had protected yourself this way, you might get a scratch on your shoulder, which would be unpleasant, but you'd probably survive. If you got a scratch here, you'd be dead. So your body goes like this. Now your body doesn't know the difference between a lot of deadlines at work or a bear. So we know a bear's not chasing you really, but if you're very stressed at work, you've got that constant low-grade stress coming into your system all the time, the chances are you're going to start getting tight here. And when these muscles are tight, they irritate the nerves and the joints and all the other structures in the neck, and it starts referring pain round to the head. So we need to use a multifaceted approach with headaches. So we will do all the work on your neck and your spine, and we will keep your body working well. But it's also important that you drink enough water, you're taking regular breaks at work or from any other repetitive activity that you're doing, and you try and get a handle on your stress levels. And with all of those together, we see some really, really great results with headaches. So if you want to know more information about headaches, please get in touch. All of our contact details are below, and we would love to try and help you. Thank you.